Hey everyone, and a massive welcome to your very first day. Seriously, we are absolutely thrilled to have you joining the data analytics team. Today, we're jumping right into the deep end with one of the most absolutely crucial skills you're going to use every single day, SQL String Manipulation. In this explainer, we're looking at the exact tools you need to take that raw, kind of messy text data we all deal with and turn it into clean, usable insights. All right, let's just dive right into this day one training module.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today's session. We've got 1, welcome analysts, 2, sizing and formatting, 3, cleaning white space, 4, extracting characters, 5, modifying and combining, and finally, 6, your quick reference table. Let's get to it.
Section 1. Welcome new data analysts. Getting started with built-in functions. So, as you're going to quickly realize in this role, real-world database records are almost never perfect. People type their names with weird capitalization, they hit the spacebar by accident, data just gets mashed together. It's the ultimate headache of messy data entry. But to ground us in fixing that, let's remember this core rule right out of our handbook. It states that string functions are built-in functions that will help us to use strings and work with strings differently. The absolutely crucial phrase there is built-in. You don't need to invent complex math or write some giant looping script to fix a typo. Nope, MySQL already has the tools pre-built to do all that heavy lifting for us. We just got to know which one to call on. Section 2. Sizing and formatting strings. We'll be looking at length, upper, and lower. All right, so these functions are basically your first line of defense to understand the scope of your data and to standardize exactly how it looks across the board. Let's start with a super simple one, length. It's a built-in function that calculates and then returns the total number of characters within a string. Understanding the literal size of your data is often step 1 in any analysis. It instantly tells you if, say, phone numbers are missing digits, or if a product code is just way too short to actually be valid. Let's actually think about how this applies to real-world tables. Imagine our employee demographics table. We use the command select first name, comma, length of first name. What this does is pull the employee's name into one column, and then drops a neat little number telling us exactly how long their name is into the next column. And by adding that order by 2 at the very end, we can instantly organize our coworkers' names from the absolute shortest character count all the way to the longest. Okay, time for our first pop quiz to test your instincts. If we run the function length with the word skyfall inside those single quotes, what exact number is returned to our query results? Take a second. Well, if you counted the letters, you'll know the answer is 7. 7 characters, so 7 is the output. It really is that straightforward. Moving right along, let's contrast formatting using upper and lower, again, against that employee demographics table. When we wrap the first name column in upper, every single letter becomes capitalized. It basically looks like the database is yelling at you. But when we use lower, everything goes completely lowercase. This is all about forcing consistency. If one user inputs their name in all caps and another uses 0 caps, wrapping your query in lower instantly makes them look uniform. That way, you can analyze the data properly without pulling your hair out. Let's lock this concept in with another pop quiz. Imagine you're building a login system, okay? And you want to ensure all user-inputted usernames match a standard lowercase format in your database, so you don't get any frustrating login errors. Which function do you use? Yep, as we just saw, the lower function is exactly the right tool for that specific job. Section 3, cleaning up white space. The trim family. Unwanted blank spaces are kind of the silent killers of data analysis. They hide completely invisibly at the beginning or end of your text, and they will absolutely ruin your matching functions. Consider the string sky, which has these awkward spaces on both sides. If we use L-trim, which stands for left trim, it specifically targets and surgically removes those leading spaces on the left. Conversely, if we use R-trim or right trim, it targets and chops off the trailing spaces on the right. This gives you incredibly granular control over exactly which side of the string you want to clean up. But here's your next pop quiz. What if you want a shortcut? What if you don't want to write 2 separate functions to remove unwanted spaces from both the left and the right sides of our sky string all at once? Which function are you going to use? Well, the answer is just simply trim. Standard trim gracefully handles both sides simultaneously, making it literally one of the absolute most frequently used shortcut functions in all of SQL. Section 4. Extracting specific characters. Substring left and right. Sometimes you don't want the whole string, right? You just want a very targeted piece of data hiding inside a much larger block of text. Let's break down the substring syntax because it takes 3 specific arguments, and I really want this logic to feel perfectly clear to you. Step 1, you define the target column you want to pull from. Step 2, you give SQL the starting position, meaning the exact numeric character place where you want to start cutting. And step 3, you tell it the number of characters you want to fetch right from that starting point.
Let's see that concept in action. We have a practical example using our employee demographics table. By writing substring, opening our parentheses, choosing the birth date column, stating position 6, and asking for 2 characters, we're able to completely bypass the year and exactly fetch just the specific birth month for every single employee. I mean, this is incredibly useful for something like generating monthly birthday reports for HR.
Now let's test your knowledge on directional extraction. Pop quiz. How do the left first name for and right first name for functions differ when they're fetching characters? Think about where they actually start. The left function starts counting at the very beginning of the string and hands you the first 4 letters. The right function, on the other hand, counts backwards from the end, giving you the final 4 letters of the string. Basically, both are specialized, slightly quicker versions of substring.
Section 5, modifying and combining strings, replace, locate, and concat.
In this active category, we're no longer just observing or extracting data. We are actively altering existing characters and bringing multiple separate columns together into one unified view. Let's look at the replace function syntax. It uses 3 simple steps. First, the column name, let's say first name. Second, the character you want to find, for instance, a lowercase a. And third, what you want to replace it with, like a lowercase z. In one fell swoop, this single command scans your entire database and swaps out those specific characters everywhere they appear in that column. It's a real game changer. All right, here's a slightly tricky pop quiz for you. What specific output does the locate function actually return to the user if we search for an inside the first name column? Does it return a name? Nope. It actually returns the exact numerical position where the sequence of letters Ann first appears in the string. So if a name starts with Ann, like Anna, it returns a 1. It literally locates the index number for you.
Now let's talk about the concat function, which is short for concatenate. Think about how elegantly we can merge data. By writing concat, tossing in our first name column a comma, an empty space surrounded by quotes, another comma, and then the last name column, we instantly generate a beautifully formatted full name column. No more jumping between 2 cells, the whole shebang is brought together perfectly.
To wrap up this active training loop, let's contrast these tools with one last pop quiz. Which function is best for swapping specific characters versus joining separate columns together? As we've seen, you definitely want replace for swapping out typos or old formatting, and you want concat for joining those separate columns together into one unified text block. Honestly, keeping these 2 distinct in your mind is going to save you a lot of troubleshooting time down the road.
Section 6, your quick reference table, the master cheat sheet.
Huge congratulations to all of you new analysts on making it through these interactive modules. You now officially understand the core mechanics of string manipulation. And as promised, here is your master's cheat sheet, summarizing everything we've covered today to make your actual day-to-day work a total breeze. Seriously, take a mental snapshot of this or literally grab a screenshot right now. You've got length for counting characters, upper and lower for standardizing your formatting, the trim family for sweeping away those invisible white spaces, substring, left and right for surgical data extractions, replace to swap out the bad data, locate to find numerical positions, and concat to just glue it all together. Every single one of these relies on the exact same basic SQL logic we've practiced today. I'm going to leave you with this final kind of provocative thought as you wrap up your day 1 training. Now that you've mastered these basic tools individually, how might you nest a trim function directly inside a concat function to clean away hidden spaces and merge messy columns all in one single incredibly efficient step? You see, the true power of MySQL unlocks when you start combining these tools to solve complex data puzzles. Welcome to the team, everyone. I absolutely cannot wait to see what you build.